Welcome back to Street Rudder, coming to you today from Painless Wiring in Fort Worth, Texas. Well, we're right now in the middle of one of the busiest areas at Painless, and that is the shipping department. Every day, countless numbers of products go out from here. And by the way, customers cannot just walk in off the street, but you may order Painless products from street rod vendors and specialty aftermarket suppliers. So check that out at www.painlessperformance.com. Now, I mentioned products waiting to be shipped out. Before they can make it to this room, they do have to pass quality control, and Bill Stevens is over there in that department right now.
Hi, Dennis. Now I'm really freaked out taking a look at this quality control board where every fuel injection harness that you manufacture gets tested. Explain this miasma of wires and connectors here.
Well, what we do is to help the customer make sure he doesn't have a problem with the harness. Like you said, every one of them is tested. And these test boards are made specifically per harness. And they all have these blue quick connects that you see on the board. And each connector on the harness itself plugs in. And then once it's all plugged in, it's just like being on the car physically, but it's a board. And then all these signals that are generated through the wires go through a computer, and that computer will then verify the correctness of each wire, the connection, the continuity, the resistance, and everything else, and it'll give us a no or no-go. If it's a go, then the harness is taken back off the board and it's ready for packaging. If it's a no-go, then we have to go through, find out where the problem is, and solve that problem before it ever goes into the package.
Some big plans in the future for Painless Performance, too. I know you want to talk about that. What is it?
Yeah, speaking of fuel injection, we're currently putting in a dyno, an engine dyno lab, and we will be doing some testing on different engine combinations and packages and so forth, programming computers and so forth to run these fuel injection engines.
You've already started construction of the dyno room, I understand?
That's correct. We've got it underway, and we're getting bids on the cooling towers and all the different things it takes, but we're getting close.
That's pretty exciting. All right, we'll be back to Painless Performance just a couple of minutes, but right now. If you're a regular viewer to Street Rudder, you know that I'm a particular devotee, if you will, of the fat fendered street rods, and this 1946 Ford belongs to Jack Brewer, who works here at Painless. He is one of the technical assistance specialists, and this little Porkster is so sweet. Tell us about the project, Jack.
We started this in 1996. I bought the original project from Dennis Overholzer, who you've met, and worked on it at his house for about 3 years, and then finished it at my house.
This has such a great stance. How do you get it to sit so low like this?
It's got a Mustang 2 cross member, drop spindles, and a Camaro rear end in it.
What's it got for power?
350 Chevy with a 350 turbo transmission.
Pretty mild setup, nothing too radical in there?
Oh, little head work, mild cam, intake, headers. It'll get you in trouble.
Like the Lakes plugs, too, coming out of the fender, another retro look. You don't see a lot of guys doing that.
It's fun. We open them up any chance we get.
And get in trouble.
Sometimes. Sometimes the cops will let us, at certain shows.
Did a nice job on the car, and it's really nice to put it on ESPN2 for you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right, we'll be back with more from here at Painless Performance in Fort Worth right after this break. Welcome back to the headquarters of Painless Performance in Fort Worth, Texas for this edition of Street Rudder. And I'm with Dennis Overholzer. He is the Executive Vice President of Painless. And I have the feeling we're kind of working from the other end of the spectrum here. This really is where the whole story begins, the engineering department.
Yeah, this is the main engineering room, and all the guys in the engineering department come in here. They get an old harness or whatever it is and lay it out and reverse engineer however it's got to be done. We have engines in here. We build engines to put harnesses on to make sure for fitment and all these type of things. So yeah, this is the room. This is where it all happens.
Over on the table over there, old instrument panels. It's so fascinating to see them from all different years of automobiles and trucks. What would you be doing with that?
We have a variation of panels over here. Right now we're working on a Ford truck harness for the late 60s, early 70s, and each individual dash panel seems to be different. So we have to make all the adjustments in the wiring or the adapters to fit all the different models that we're advertising.
Outside, I couldn't help but notice a whiteboard with an entire list I would assume, upcoming projects for you.
A lot of these projects take up to a year, so as we progress, we write something off that we finished, we add something else, so the list never ends.
Dennis, you mentioned that you had a sneak preview of something you wanted to share with us. Can we go take a look at that now?
Sure, why not? Let's go see.
Cool. Back here at Painless Performance in Fort Worth, Texas, with Executive Vice President Dennis Overholzer, and we just saw some intake manifolds over there. Something tells me you sneaky guys are up to something.
We're always up to something, right? What we've done is we've got the stock fuel injection harnesses like you've seen a minute ago. Now we're developing some intake manifolds and so forth that will be run by this MEFI computer. So it will...
That's a computer, that little guy right there?
This is it. It's made by Delphi, and this is what we have the dyno room for, to program this particular computer.
What are we seeing over here on the computer screen?
Brian Montgomery is putting together, he's our engineering manager, he's putting together the drawings and so forth to build the prototypes for some new manifolding for small block Chevrolets and Fords eventually using the MEFI computer.
So you'll have the wiring, the fuel injection, intake manifold, and all of the gingerbread that a street rodder will need to go fuel injected on whatever motor.
That is correct.
That's pretty exciting. Hey, Dennis, we enjoyed being with you today here at Painless Performance. It's really an exciting place to be because I know you really love what you're doing. We appreciate your time.
Well, we appreciate you being here. Thanks a lot.
And that will put a wrap on this edition of Street Rodder. For Bill Stevens and Big Daddy Don Garlett's Claude Wood, keep on cruising. Street Rodder is a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.